So I just don't like people who are essentially willing to sacrifice or risk the mental health of their consumers, the people who put them in the position they're in today, who gave them a platform, who trusted them for the sake of making additional money through a product or a supplement which likely isn't as effective as they claim it is. Well, here it is. It is part 2. And I was actually going to leave this video till the next video, which would have been Thursday. But I thought, you know what, it makes more sense to do part 1 and part 2 back to back. So, obviously, if you're unaware, I recently did a video on Thursday last week covering Blogilates and the end of her 90-day journey. And we kind of spoke about a few things about how I feel it could have been improved, my issues with it, but also the fact that I appreciate that she's achieved a goal, all the good bits and bobs. And I stated during the video that I was going to do a part 2, and that part 2 was going to be very much supplement heavy. And the reason I've done this is because ultimately, if you go to her final day blog post, as we're looking at now, you go down to one of the points here, she speaks about how she didn't sleep enough because she was so focused on the launch of her protein powder. Quite a lot of comments in my video kind of aligned very much with my maybe theory. Part of the purpose of her 90-day journey was to market a product, and it does very much seem like that might have been for the sake of marketing and promoting her protein powder and supplements. This is a great time to talk about supplements, so that's what we're going to do just now. But before we do so, you know what must be done. If at any point you decide you like the video, 1,250 likes on the video is the goal, so if we could reach that, that'd be bloody splendid, because we actually did reach out, I want to say in like 6 hours last video, which is absolutely incredible, and I cannot thank you enough. If you haven't already, please do consider clicking the red button down below and maybe subscribe to the channel, and maybe even the bell next to it so you get notified when I upload every week, twice a week. And if you have a question you want me to answer at the end of the next video, drop it down below for comment question of the week and I shall do so. I've made a mistake, I'm going to be honest with you. Every video I wear like a headpiece. It was a subscriber challenge last year and we kind of continued it this year, and then at the end of the year I'll donate the bits and bobs to charity, because otherwise I'm never going to use them again. It's a shame for them to go to waste. And Melissa sent me the link to this one, and we did theorise that maybe it wasn't actually the hat, it was something else. And it turns out that we were right. It's a nose that my nose doesn't fit in. I can't breathe. When I do breathe, it smells horrible. It smells absolutely rancid. I've got an idea. I'm a genius. This is why I've got 2 degrees. I can breathe now. Fantastic. I want to clarify something very quickly before we start with the video. I've been wanting to do a video on supplements for a long time, and then Blogilates producing her supplements and promoting them here seemed like a really good opportunity for me to kind of use this as a catalyst for conversation. Because ultimately, if I do a video on supplements, not that many people are actually going to be massively interested in kind of learning about what's a yay and what's a nay. If I do a video that ties in Blogilates' recent supplement release, my hope is those people who maybe don't know much better, or who are interested in investing a lot of their money into supplements, specifically her supplements perhaps, might come across this video and think, you know what, let's watch this before I make a decision, and maybe that will contribute to them having a better informed decision, or maybe that might contribute to them changing their decision. So that's why I'm using Blogilates as a catalyst, and that's why this video is kind of focused on her, even though the general topic is going to be supplements. I just wanted to kind of clarify that before people jumped in saying, Harry, this is clickbait, when to some extent it is. It's more so I can kind of appeal to an audience that might not necessarily have seen this video otherwise, and I feel like maybe could benefit from seeing this video before they potentially waste their money. So we have a look at her supplements. The Blogilates Sculpt and Debloat Plant Protein Powder with Probiotics. Someone actually made an interesting comment about this. They kind of stated, because bloating has been very prominent in the fitness industry recently, do I feel that maybe she's seeing a market she can jump in on and maybe capitalise on that? I don't know. It is definitely a consideration, because I know bloating videos have been around the industry for a while, and I have seen a lot more of them recently. Fantastic that she's offering plant protein. We love an option that can be consumed by those who adopt a vegan diet and a plant-based lifestyle. Love to see it respected. Probiotics are very much heavily associated with gut health and that kind of big push of things. But in all honesty, I don't know a mass amount about them. But from my reading, and Austin helped me with this, and also from people I've spoken to, there's not a huge amount of research actually supporting probiotics and their benefit towards gut health and other things. It's still very much like a grey area, a lot of uncertainty. I personally don't think there's sufficient evidence to really latch onto the probiotic label as something that is crucial when looking at protein powders, and I feel like maybe Blogilates or Cassey is potentially doing so because it's kind of a bit of a buzzword in the industry at the moment. Does it do what it says it does? Is it, or is this maybe just some clever marketing by Cassey? Again, I don't know. I'm merely just speculating here. And now we're going to talk about a few bits and bobs regarding supplements. The supplement industry is a fruity one. And I say a fruity one because a lot of the myths and misconceptions you may have heard within the fitness industry may have stemmed from the supplement industry. And Mike, who's one of the co-hosts of the podcast I do, which is obviously Pump Fiction, which will be coming to YouTube this week actually, and will be linked down below in the description when it is, and the audio link is already down there. He actually introduced me to this, saying if you think about it, a lot of the things you hear about, let's say, the anabolic window, where you've got to have 25 grams or 30 grams of protein immediately post-workout to make maximal gains. How big's a scoop of protein? 25 or 30 grams. Interesting. He did highlight that these myths are very much fed by the supplement industry as a means of selling more products, and it does make a lot of sense. The thing people need to remember is that supplements will not make or break a physique, regardless of what your goals are, be that hypertrophy, endurance, strength, whatever it may be. Supplements are there to supplement, they're not there to replace. The majority of what you consume should be and will be found within whole foods. Supplements are there merely to kind of fill in that deficit that maybe you can't get from the whole foods. So for example, things like creatine, additional protein from protein powders, etc, etc. But I will cover those shortly. And when you think about what supplements do you actually need, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, and this is maybe a controversial opinion because a lot of fitness influencers and content creators do very much promote supplements, especially considering they often have a handy discount code. Interesting. There is no gym fitness supplement that you need. If you want them, sure, you can have them, but you do not need them. And supplements will do far less for you than I think you think they will. And when it comes to what supplements could you actually consider, that's an interesting one, because there's a lot of myths and misconceptions around that too. Protein powder, you could consider. If you cannot reach your protein requirements from whole foods, or it is inconvenient to do so, you can certainly consider getting a protein powder, like a vegan protein powder, a whey protein powder, something along those lines. It's just best to find one that you can digest well. I saw someone actually made a comment in the last video was asking about how much protein is too much protein from protein powders. There isn't really a limit. Again, I would say it's probably best to get a majority of your macros and micros, whatever it may be, from whole foods. But in theory, you could consume as much protein powder as you want, because it is essentially just another form of protein. It's just a convenient means of getting protein in, and it's certainly not the devil. Who actually needs protein powder? Like I said, if you can't reach your protein requirements or is inconvenient to do so using whole foods, a protein powder is worth considering. Creatine monohydrate is another big one. So creatine monohydrate is very popular. It's actually probably the most researched supplement on the market, and it has been proven to have some benefits. It's certainly a good one, and it's actually one of the supplements I would probably actually recommend to somebody, kind of regardless of goals to some extent. But I guess if I had to isolate more specifically to those who are keen on resistance training, I think creatine monohydrate can be a great time. Is it going to improve your performance and improve your results substantially? Probably not. Is it going to do more than a lot of the other nonsense supplements on the market? Absolutely, because creatine is supported by evidence, heavily researched, and is also extremely cheap. So if you find creatine monohydrate that's expensive, bin it off. Regarding how much you should take, I'm actually going to cover this later, but we'll kind of tickle it now. 5 grams a day, every day. No days off, no cycling, no loading, just 5 grams a day, every day, regardless of gender. 5 grams. Pre-workout, there's another one that was actually heavily questioned in the last video. Do you need pre-workout? Again, you tell me, do you need pre-workout? So essentially pre-workout comes in like a few different forms. You get kind of like pump/focus pre-workouts that aren't stimulant driven, so they don't have lots of caffeine in or any caffeine in usually. And then you get more stimulant driven pre-workouts, which are going to be filled with caffeine. If you've listened to the podcast, I can't remember what episode it was, maybe episode 7, you'll hear about my pre-workout story. That was not a good time. It was a memory. I digress. Do you need them? If you feel like you need a bit of caffeine to get to the gym, you can have a coffee if you want to, or if you feel like a pre-workout is more convenient for you, have some pre-workout. It really is very much a question of you must do what's best for you. There's no right or wrong answer there. Throughout this video, I'm probably going to chuck some studies on screen that maybe go into a bit more detail about what I'm speaking about, and maybe to provide some supporting evidence here and there. It's definitely good to look at the ingredients panel of those pre-workouts if you're interested in really investing in one that's like higher quality. You'll see a lot of them have like beta-alanine, citrulline malate, things along those lines in the pre-workouts. It's best to kind of cross-reference that with what is considered to be the recommended optimal dose for that substance. So if they're underdosing or overdosing it, it's maybe not the best pre-workout to invest in unless they can justify why they're doing it. Also consider caffeine content. If it's 300 milligrams of caffeine per scoop, that's a lot of caffeine, and that is going to leave you feeling a bit fruity. Trust me, I know. Find one that aligns with you, find one that sits with you. if you need it. This might actually have to come off. I do apologise. This is making my nose very sweaty and I'm not having fun with it. It also kind of hurts a little bit. I can breathe again. You know when you've had a cold, you just lose your ability to breathe freely and you just sit there just pondering in bed at night because you can't sleep, you're so congested, and you just think how much you take breathing freely for granted. And you're just thinking, maybe I will never breathe freely through my nose again. Maybe I will never smell the world around me fully. And you're just thinking, you know what? Whoever's listening, if I can breathe freely again, I will not take it for granted. I will embrace it. I will cherish it every day of my life until the cold goes and you breathe again and you completely forgot that you felt that way. Or is that just me? That might just be me. BCAAs and EAAs, that's another one. So BCAAs, in all honesty, are, I believe, a waste of money. So branched chain amino acids, BCAAs, are essentially expensive flavoured water. And I personally wouldn't invest in them. If you are going to invest in something like that, I would consider something like EAAs, which is essential amino acids, which is something I consume personally. Again, do you need it? Absolutely not. It kind of is something I consider if your big focus is like hypertrophy, resistance training, whatever it may be, and you're looking at optimizing your goals. And when I say optimizing, I mean you're looking for every percentage you can find to try and achieve what you're trying to achieve. So again, you kind of see the running theme here, which is you don't need anything, but if you want to, just know what you could consider. And like I said, if your goals are very much resistance training focused, like I said, you could consider creatine monohydrate, a protein powder, a pre-workout if you feel like you need one. And this kind of goes on to my issue with the supplement industry. And I'm gonna be honest with you here. When I got into the gym, I invested all of the little amount of money I had in supplements. I was spending hundreds of pounds a month on supplements, thinking that they were going to help me achieve what I wanted to achieve. Because in all honesty, all of the influencers and creators I was following were telling me that it would do just that. And I wanted to be just like them. And I said, well, why would they lie to me? I know they've got a handy discount code, but why wouldn't they tell me the truth? So I spent a lot of money on the supplements and I was taking everything under the sun. This doesn't apply to all supplements. Like I said, I do believe some have a place and a purpose. Again, I take some myself, but I only take ones I feel are actually going to optimize or better benefit my performance of what I'm trying to achieve. Out of choice, not because I need them, but because I want them. My issue with the supplement industry is ultimately this, is that they created this idea. You need what they're selling to achieve what you want to achieve, when that's just not the case. And I think ultimately the sad reality is the supplement industry in many cases can prey on a lot of unsuspecting people who maybe don't know any better, or who are maybe new to the gym looking for that kind of, maybe the shortcut, or maybe just something that might help them accelerate their progress. I don't like it because, again, I was victim to this as well when I was a teenager, so 18, 19, where I was kind of still relatively new to the gym, and I was just thinking, well, all my favourite athletes are doing it, why shouldn't I? They pay people money to promote their products, and that's probably why people lie to you about them. Like I said, supplements are there to supplement, not replace. If you want them, you can take them. Sure, some may benefit your performance and help you achieve your goals, maybe just a percentage faster, but you don't need anything. You can likely still achieve your goals without them. There's just some supplements that just may make that process a tiny bit easier. This actually kind of stemmed into all my issues with the fitness industry. There are so many lies, myths, and misconceptions floating around it. You just don't know who to believe anymore, and that's such an issue. I've seen so many creators that I've really looked up to for years, especially recently actually. Creators that I used to invest a lot of my time into their content. They taught me a lot of stuff, and then I see them producing absolute nonsense supplements because they're trying to make money. Again, I understand you're making a career, but at what point are you just becoming greedy and actually stepping away from your values and your morals? I don't align with that. I don't respect that. And it's actually really disappointing to see. Again, regardless of how big TFNL gets one day, I will stand by my message of you do not need anything. You must do what's best for you, and supplements will not make or break a physique, nor will they make or break a goal. It's just sad too, because a lot of these lies that were largely pushed by the supplement industry are still floating around today, like I said, the anabolic window and other bits and bobs like that, when in reality it shouldn't have been the case in the first place, but it is. So hopefully that's kind of helped debunk a few bits and bobs, and maybe help kind of eliminate some questions you might have had surrounding supplements, what you should take, what you shouldn't take, when ultimately the reality is, like I said, you don't need anything, but if you want something you can. I've listed the supplements I might consider taking, depending on what your goals are, but again, you've got to do what's best for you. Am I mad at Blogilates for producing supplements? No, I'm not. Do I feel like she might have used the 90-day journey as a means of marketing those supplements? Potentially. Do I feel like she might be latching on to kind of buzzwords within the industry at the moment, being bloat and probiotics, as a means of marketing her supplements further? Potentially. I just think Cassey's promotion of supplements is a really good catalyst for conversation here, and hopefully this video has reached people that were maybe considering investing a lot of money into supplements, but maybe weren't necessarily too educated on supplements. Maybe this has changed your mind, and maybe this has saved you a bit of money, or maybe this has helped you manage your expectations. We're actually going to do something slightly different for comment question of the week. So I asked people on my Instagram story for supplement questions, myths, and misconceptions, and we're going to kind of speed run a few of them and just kind of spitball them out there and see what we can cover. What's the hype with turkesterone? So again, this has actually been a supplement that's become very popular recently. Again, I might be wrong, but I want to say Greg Doucette was the one who really started promoting it. Insufficient evidence really supporting the claims behind it. It's meant to produce kind of similar anabolic properties, but ultimately, does it really? Is it that effective? And Omar Isaf actually did make a really good post about it in which he stated, "Weird, I heard from someone else in this space that turkesterone is astonishingly effective. Like really, really effective. They even have a handy discount code you can use to save money on the supplement. What a good dude, clearly looking out for everyone else's best interests and not trying to profit off naive kids." He's got a point. It kind of goes on to what I mentioned earlier. A lot of people are just trying to make money in this industry. And again, I don't think making money is a bad thing. I think sticking to your values, staying true to your morals, and respecting your audience is far more important than money. Would I invest in turkesterone? No. Do I think you should? Probably not. Do I think it's supported enough to even consider it a viable option when looking at supplementation? Probably not. Many things like this pop up where the audience have promised one thing where they're going to experience amazing results taking a supplement, but then they don't experience amazing results. And again, this very much goes back to what I speak about in many videos. They often feel like they're the problem. They get set unrealistic expectations by the salesman and then feel really bad about themselves when they don't meet those unrealistic and unachievable expectations. It's an endless cycle of absolutely battering people's self-esteem and potentially really negatively impacting their mental health, which is something I just can't align with and I can't support. Because obviously if you watch this channel, you know how important mental health is to me on this channel, and I know how important it is to many of you. I just don't like people who are essentially willing to sacrifice or risk the mental health of their consumers, the people who put them in the position they're in today, who gave them a platform, who trusted them for the sake of making additional money through a product or a supplement which likely isn't as effective as they claim it is. Is creatine really for men rather than women? Absolutely not. Creatine is for all genders. I think creatine is more goal specific than gender specific. I think it's best used and researched within resistance training, but it has benefit across many other goals. And like I said, 5 grams a day of creatine monohydrate every single day without fail. Testosterone boosters. Big one. A big trap I fell into as well back in the day. Realistically, testosterone boosters, absolute waste of money. If they do boost your testosterone by any amount, the amount that they do boost your testosterone by will be insignificant and will not yield any better results. They're very much often marketed as like a legal steroid. No, they're not. Going on steroids may boost your testosterone by, let's say, 10 times, depending on what you're taking, how much you're taking. A natural testosterone booster may boost your testosterone by some percentage. Will it even do that? A lot of times you can actually naturally boost your testosterone by improving your diet, resistance training, sleeping better, things along those lines. Again, when it comes to testosterone boosters, do not waste your time, do not waste your money. They will not do what they claim they do, and if they do anything for your testosterone, it will not be noticeable when it comes to results. Protein powder, why? Also, male and female powder, just marketing, or is there a difference? Again, protein powder is essentially useful if you can't meet your protein requirements through food. Is there a difference between male and female protein powders? Again, protein powder like creatine is goal specific, not gender specific. So no, there isn't. Protein is protein. Does creatine have any link to kidney issues? Not that I'm aware of. As far as I'm aware, based on the majority of studies, creatine has no real side effects. Are stimulant-free pre-workouts useful? Again, maybe like more pump-dominant pre-workouts to help push blood into the muscles and give you that sick pump potentially, but it depends what you want it for and what you're using it for. How much protein per kilo of body weight? Again, there are so many ideas of what's the right or wrong answer, so in all honesty, I'm a bit unsure because there's so much conflicting evidence, but the way I kind of always approached it, just for me and optimizing hypertrophy, I kind of look at around 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, especially when you're considering optimizing the building of muscle. Should someone trying to lose weight and body fat take creatine, and why? Whether you're in a mass gaining phase or in a calorie deficit, creatine is going to be useful regardless, depending on your goals obviously. It could improve your performance within the gym, maybe help you output a bit more force, lift a bit more, which could then yield slightly better results when considering like progressive overload and optimizing hypertrophy. So whether you're in like a deficit or a surplus, if you feel creatine aligns with your goals, take it regardless. You should consume protein 30 minutes after a workout. Kind of touched on this earlier, the anabolic window myth pushed by the supplement industry. You don't need to do that. Will protein powder lead to faster muscle gain than eating protein-rich food, i.e. meat? What's going to have more of an impact on your muscle gain when it comes to protein will be the amount you're consuming rather than whether it's coming from protein supplements or protein-dense food sources. Misconception, I think. My mates used to say that my inhalers are PEDs and I wouldn't ever be allowed to compete. I've been that off. It's likely a misconception. So what you are going to do, if let's say you're competing in powerlifting, if like a substance within your inhaler is banned by the World Anti-Doping Agency or whichever body they're using for drug testing, you'll have to download a therapeutic use exemption form, which basically states, I'm taking this substance that's on your ban list for this reason, for medical reasons, here's my prescription, this is why. They'll likely say, all good, don't worry about it, crack on, thanks for submitting that. I wouldn't worry about that. Also, that kind of goes back into the realm of testosterone very quickly. If testosterone was as effective an anabolic as they claim it is, why is it not a banned substance? And why did the World Anti-Doping Agency, so WADA, allow it to be used in sport? Ponder that thought for a moment. Creatine pre or post workout, it really doesn't matter to be honest. All like I said, 5 grams a day, every day, roughly about the same time if you can, but again, it's probably not that important. Your thoughts on Herbalife supplements? Put them in the bin. Maybe video worthy in the future, who knows, but honestly, bin's over there. Herbalife, where's my nose? Herbalife? Straight over there. Opinion on crazy bulk products such as clenbuterol, legal steroid alternatives. Although clenbuterol isn't technically a steroid, I believe it is still considered a PED, and it's definitely not a bulking supplement. In the world of PEDs and like in sports, it's a very effective fat burning enhancement, and it's also quite a dangerous one. It can put a lot of strain and pressure on the heart, and although, like I said, it is very effective for fat burning, it's also very risky, and it's not a risk I think you should take personally. Also, that kind of goes into another point. Fat burners, those fat burning pills. Again, where's the end of my nose? Fat burner pills? Bin. As a woman, you need supplements to grow muscles. Absolutely not. That's certainly a myth and a misconception. What you essentially need is sufficient fuel, sufficient stimulus, and sufficient recovery, as well as a few other bits and bobs. So that comes into eating enough, training, and recovering, so sleeping enough. Those are a few of the ones I've got. I'm sorry I couldn't answer all of them, but maybe I could do that more often because that was good fun. That is it. That is the video. Like I said at the start of the video, 1,250 likes in the first 24 hours is the goal, so if we could reach that, that'd be bloody exquisite. If you haven't already, please do consider clicking the red button down below and the bell next to it so you get notified when I upload every week, twice a week. If you two have a question you want me to answer at the end of the next video, drop it down below for comment question of the week and I shall do so. Thank you for tolerating me. Thank you for tolerating my failure of a headpiece and sliced up nose, and thank you for tolerating the video.